Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today is going to be a first impressions. I purchased some samples from Urban Sense. These were not sent to me for free. I buy a lot of my own samples. I purchase these myself from the website. So in all honesty, it's not a true first impression. I did smell them immediately after them arriving 2 days ago. So I smelled them 2 days ago. I've had the scents on strips now for 2 days to smell the dry down of all of them, but now we're going to do a first impression. So I'm going to read you a little bit of the description of the brand. So Urban Sense is a German brand from Berlin, and it reads, as a family business, Urban Sense goes back to the roots of traditional perfume making as a craft and works uniquely with small manufacturers that specialize in their fields. This exquisite ingredients are sourced from independent workshops and processed at a small perfume house in Graz that was founded more than 70 years ago by Edmund Rudnitzer, the creator of iconic scents like Eau Sauvage and Femme by Rochas. The night blue flacons with the propeller logo are handmade in a glass workshop in northern France, and the nickel-plated brass caps are forged in Italy. In the tradition of Rudnitzer, Urban Sense highly values creative spirit, quality and responsibility. I do like their presentation. I think the bottle looks nice. I think the boxes look cool. The prices are 180 euros for 100 ml, which is about £95 or about 125 US dollars for the 100 ml. I can't spray these, so the only way to do this, they come in little jars. So I'm going to be dabbing paper strips for this until until I'm going to review them properly, if I'm going to. So we've got Desert Rose, Sensual Blend, Lost Paradise, Vetiver Reunion, Gunpowder Cologne, and Singular Oud, and they're all by Urban Sense. So we're going to have to use paper strips here, like I say, because there's no sprays. It's just a little vial, and obviously I don't have enough skin room to do all this as a first impression. On paper again, and I'm going to compare the top notes with the dry down from 2 days ago. So Sensual Blend is very, very light. It's not, I wouldn't call it gourmand. It's like almost like a watery, musky, if that's the right word, ethereal kind of semi-sweet, but not really vanilla. It's kind of like blonde suede with some kind of tiny bit of sugar water on there is maybe a good, if you think of like a cream coloured suede and someone spilled a little bit of sugary water on top of it. With Sensual Blend there's meant to be a top note of whiskey. Don't smell it at all, it's not there in my opinion. The dry down of Sensual Blend 2 days later, almost completely gone from the strip. Very, very pale, very light, and the same as what the top notes are, just kind of a semi-watery, slightly sweet, suede-ish kind of thing. Very, very light. I don't want to sound mean, but there's not really much interest. It's a little bit boring. I can't imagine many people being overly excited by this one, especially if you've got an experience with a broad range of fragrances. This one really isn't going to grab your attention at all, to be honest. If you were passing this in passing, you would keep passing, if you know what I mean. There's nothing really to grab your attention. So Sensual Blend, a little bit dull and very, very light. So the next one is called Vetiver Reunion. I'll read the notes. It has one of the finest vetivers paired with vivid citrus notes, red pepper, soft musks. So you get a soft, ever so slightly earthy, bordering on nutty kind of vetiver. There's definitely no vivid citrus. If anything, there's just like something a little bit kind of light and refreshing, but it doesn't punch you in the face with grapefruit or lime or any vivid citrus. The vivid is definitely the wrong word to describe that. There's a very subtle hint of something citrusy, but what you're smelling really is a slightly earthy, nutty vetiver that's quite soft and mellow, not hugely potent. All of these fragrances I found in general to be quite light, on the light side of things. It smells very pleasant. It doesn't smell bad at all. Pink pepper, like the tiniest kind of dribble. it's pretty much just a mellow kind of vetiver with nothing much else, and it didn't seem to change in the dry down. It's still kind of the same vetiver and a tiny bit of kind of clean musk. I'm not sure you would be excited by this one either, personally. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, it doesn't smell bad, it's just not that exciting. If you really like vetiver, you might like it. There's not a whole lot of interest. They're very minimalist, maybe that's the right word. Minimalist, kind of singular kind of compositions, just not overly exciting. So the next one is called Lost Paradise. This is my favourite from the collection, but it's very feminine. Almost no men would feel like this is masculine in any way. It strikes me hugely as feminine. I'll read you the description. A contemporary interpretation of the icons of the 80s that carried the intensity of a storm cloud. The classic chypre featuring citrus notes and jasmine in the heart, oak, moss, patchouli and musk in the base with osmanthus and magnolia. In general, it's a musky, fruity floral that you've probably smelled before, even in many designer fragrances. Very feminine, very girly, but nice. I like it. I think it smells good. If a girl wore that around me, I would give her a compliment and think she smells nice. It's pretty, but it's a fruity floral musk. Again, not that original or exciting, to be honest, but it's definitely pleasant, and it's on the light side. It's not heavy in your face fragrance. This is closer, mellow, kind of soft, which is nice. It's not going to punch you in the face. And the dry down of that one 2 days later, it's a soft, clean, almost fabric softener like florally musk. It smells like really nice clean clothes or fresh towels out of the wash. It's got that lovely laundry clean smell of like fresh jumpers and towels out of the dryer or something like that. It's nice, but it's going to remind you of that kind of thing. So the next one is called Gunpowder Cologne. With a name like this, I was expecting something pretty kind of interesting, but it doesn't really do much for me. So I'll read you the description from the website. A modern interpretation of a lasting vigour with refreshing infusion of green tea, Italian bergamot, lavender, followed with light woody notes and a taste of velvet musk. So this is very, very light. It's kind of a little bit ethereal, and nothing really jumps out too much. I guess you get a kind of a watery kind of a tea vibe, green tea, with a splash of citrus. You can smell the lavender, but it's not a punch in the face of lavender. It's subtle, but you can detect it. You can smell the lavender. You get a sense of I guess a green tea-ish kind of vibe. You definitely get a citrus. It's kind of balanced in a way that's just ethereal and light. It's not a heavy fragrance at all. I would say it's completely unisex. The dry down of this one, let me find it, Gunpowder Cologne, is exactly like White Musk by the Body Shop. It's the same musk note that's used in Body Shop. It's going to remind you of that straight away. I really like the musk from, actually White Musk by Body Shop is a fragrance I really like. I think it smells really good. I immediately know when a woman or a girl walking past is wearing this, or wearing Body Shop, because it's so recognisable and it's strong as well. It projects and it lasts a long time. This smells like the Body Shop in the dry down, and the opening is nice. I think it smells, really actually thinking about it, less like a tea and more like a kind of like maybe like a mojito or a tonic. I think it's the way the greenness is mixing with the citrusiness and the light ethereal muskiness of it kind of just reminds me of something like a mojito maybe, minus the strong mint. It's got kind of a tonic-y kind of vibe to it, but just again pleasant, not that hugely interesting if you are a big collector of niche fragrances. Desert Rose, the description reads, a velvet warm bouquet of fresh Moroccan roses sparkled with edgy accents of cardamom and ginger. Classic modern twist that unfolds into oriental notes with mineral dimension. So for me, I actually have Moroccan Rose Absolute. It doesn't smell like this. This to me smells like what I would imagine a watery pink rose to smell like. It has a watery light pink rose smell that smells very feminine. again, kind of ethereal and light, and I think it's just the general kind of lightness of them all that make them kind of ethereal-ish. The cardamom and the ginger are very, like, low. They don't punch out. None of these blends, I feel, are... You don't notice kind of... Everything is just, like, balanced evenly. Like, it's just a flat plane of something rather than interesting peaks of different things. It's just like, boom, there you go. Everything is kind of evenly balanced. You get this even kind of flat, watery pink rose with just tiny hints of cardamom and ginger. And really, that's pretty much it. I think it's pleasant. I think it would smell pretty on a woman. Definitely not a man's fragrance. Very feminine in my opinion. But what I like about it is that it does smell like more of a true rose. It smells like wet pink roses in the garden. It smells more realistic, which is nice. It smells like fresh cut pink roses with morning dew, with just the tiniest hint of, you know, cooling kind of cardamom and ginger. Ginger and cardamom both have cooling like effects. They're kind of refreshing and fresh. So this is light, pretty, feminine, watery, pink kind of fresh rose. Pleasant. I would, again, if a woman wore that around me, I would think she smells very pretty and I would give her a compliment. The dry down, you can barely smell anything 2 days later. That one is on the light side, so if you want a stronger fragrance, that might disappoint. It's very, very light. There's loads of fresh kind of rose fragrances. Actually, if you want one that's real kind of pink roses that just smell like they've been chopped from the garden, I would recommend, I think it's called Rose Blanche by Cherini, which is an all-natural brand in France. That one is the most realistic rose perfume I've ever smelled. It literally smells like a huge bouquet of mixed roses. I would recommend that one personally. It's stronger, it's more intense, the rosiness is more rosy. So if you'd like that kind of vibe, I would check out that particular one by Cherini. So the last one that I have actually comes in a spray, so we'll spray this one. It's called Singular Oud. It's meant to use an oud from Laos. I don't like this one, I'll be completely honest. Let me read you the description first. An encounter of a warm classic oriental notes of saffron, incense and patchouli with green fig, Laotian oud, and that's it. 180 euros for 100 ml. Thinking about it now, it actually reminds me a little bit of an olfactive studio fragrance which I do like, called Ombre Indigo. It has a similar incensey, spicy thing going on that reminds me of Ombre Indigo, which I do like, but for some reason I don't particularly like this one. So you do, I think you smell the saffron, you get the incensey kind of vibe, but the best comparison is Ombre Indigo by Olfactive Studio. But there's something in this that I don't like, whereas Ombre Indigo I found quite interesting. This one, for me, the oud doesn't speak to me that well. It doesn't, I mean, it's hard to say without smelling the original oud oil. It just doesn't jump out as, it's not like a beautiful oud that just smells amazing, or it's not a particular, there's nothing animalic, there's no barnyard thing. It's a smooth, woody, oudy kind of, obviously with this unusual kind of semi-watery, incensey, slightly spiced thing that reminds me of Ombre Indigo. Doesn't jump out. I think there's a very kind of small amount of oud used. It's like a very smooth, I don't want to say boring oud, but it's not a monstrously complex, interesting, dynamic oud that grabs your attention and hooks you in. This is just a mellow kind of woodiness with kind of an incensey thing and a touch of spice. Lacking interest for me, and I would imagine for most people. I'm not sure what there is to hook you in and go, oh, I want to smell this more. I just don't get that with these fragrances. They're all just kind of quite nicely done, very pleasant, but ultimately just a bit dull and boring. And I'm sorry that sounds bad, but that's how I feel They just don't sing to me. There's nothing wrong with them though, like they all smell fine. They're just not that interesting for someone that smelled a lot of perfume. I think if you're maybe new to delving into perfume, then you might like some of these, but for an experienced kind of person that smelled a lot, these aren't really going to be doing much for you, I think. 2 days later doesn't smell of a thing, which is telling of how little oud is used, because oud on a paper test strip will last a long time. It's a very persistent note, which to me tells me that very little is used in the formula. It is very light. All of them are very light. If you'd like me to review them in full, let me know in the description. Otherwise, you probably won't hear me mention them again. I might probably just leave it as a first impression unless you specifically request a review on a certain one. That's it. Nothing wrong with them. They're all pleasant, just not doing much for me personally. If you've tried them and you really like them, let other people know. You know, taste is personal. One person's pot of gold is another person's trash, so that's just how it is with fragrance, any art form. Same with music, same with movies. You know, what you like to watch, I might not like to watch. What I listen to, you might hate. That's how it goes. So these ones, not for me. They might be for you. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you again all next time. Bye. Take care.